Welcome to this channel. This channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So, I shared this YouTube yesterday. So, it's just less than 24 hours. I have already received many messages from our martial art friends, which include Wing Chun friends and martial art friends from different systems. Now, in the message, many telling me that the person in the forum wrote those posts towards me is at the level of unacceptable behavior. And many have asking me to share more on Wing Chun. How is the entire Wing Chun in the uh, reality, in the true history, develop or with what technology and so forth, and how some ask me about this breathing and the qi gong, nei gong. How is it? So I make this YouTube today to share with you all what you want to know. Okay? In today's world, we want to know about nei gong, qi gong, how the Wing Chun fight, and how is this all comes based on evidence, not my opinion, my speculation, my lineage, my Sifu said, I go research. No. Based on historical evidence and using today's language, today's science to share with you what is going on. This is very important. If you don't know what I share in this YouTube, it's guaranteed that you don't know Wing Chun. You don't know in depth what is Wing Chun. Now, of course, there's somebody who don't have to watch this YouTube, but they know the in-depth of Wing Chun. Why? Because we both is based on the same historical evidence and technical evidence. So the first thing, speak of the behavior of Wing Chuners. Just months ago, this person harassing Xi Xiaodong. Well, of course, he's the Wing Chun expert too, harassing Xi Xiaodong. So end up, Xi Xiaodong is looking for him, his teacher, and have a visit, and so forth, so forth. And all this expert lead to, at the end, Wing Chun get humiliated in the public by Xi Xiaodong. His lineage, his grandmaster, get humiliated by Xi Xiaodong. And of course, everybody keep the mouth shut. He get humiliated. Well, many old timer in China, in Hong Kong, is telling me that people now behave really badly. This is old timer in Wing Chun, seafood. Okay. So you can know that today's Wing Chun education is having a big problem because people can go just claim whatever they want. Like this guy claiming whatever he is and then harassing Xi Xiaodong. Everybody talk about research. Let me tell you one incident, my incident in Fatsan, China. So I was in Fatsan, China 2017 because a Sifu, a grandmaster in other style, invite me to join his meeting with other style in Fatsan. And so I went there. And this is not just usual seafood because this grandmaster who invite me is working in military and in have a gym, compete in different martial art, sanda and those kind of stuff. So I went there, met the different grandmaster or seafoods from different style, and also historian, official historian, so forth. Well, this visit is not tourism. Go interview somebody. No, it's go down there and talk about what happened. How is Chinese Kung Fu need to evolve? That's the name of the game. Of course, I went there and learning since I don't know much. The third day in the closed door, since we get acquainted very well already. See, because I'm a Chinese descendant, overseas Chinese, we speak the same language, same custom. After 3 days, everybody get really close and know each other, become friend. Hmm. So in the group, a Sifu asked me, Hendrik, in your view, in your understanding, why should we in Canton respect Wing Chun? What does Wing Chun contribute to the people of Canton? Tourism, movies. So this is behind the closed door with all this seafoods and grandmaster. So the question is, what does Wing Chun contribute to the people of Canton? Well, when he asked that, I know why he asked. Let me share with you why he asked. Because the legit martial arts system in or style in Canton, either they join into the overthrown the Qing uprising, or they join in the fight against the Japanese invasion. Okay, so just say one really solid thing where everybody know, like Hong Sing Choi Lei fight, they fought in the overturn of the Qing, the uprising, the revolutions of Sun Yat-sen. They fight in the Japanese invasions. They actually block the Japanese, okay, and other style doing those things. So this friend is questioning me, okay, and I do know people in Canton do not like Wing Chun. Why? Because in my mind, in their mind, Wing Chuners do not have any evidence for that overturn the Qing uprising, revolutions, supporting Sun Yat-sen. Wing Chun do not have the records on fighting the Japanese. In contradict, they are doing opium, doing drugs. That is what in the mind, in the heart of those grandmaster in Fatsan. And people in Fatsan, people remember you, at least for now. So I just want to ask all those so-called grandmaster, they do research in China. They contribute this, their lineage, the oldest Wing Chun or everything in China. When you are in a meeting like that in Fatsan, how are you going to answer that? How are you going to answer that? What is the solutions? Because that's about Wing Chun. How? So that's why I say, can you answer that? Can you stand up for Wing Chun with all your research in China like this and like that? And all the claim? Can you do that with historical evidence? So after the question asked me, that is a period of quiet time. It is a strong questions, but it's a straightforward questions from straightforward people. This is martial artist, Kung Fu Grandmaster. No BS. It's not about humiliate you. It's about do you have anything to stand on yourself? It's not about winning. It's not about who is the best fighter. The question is, what have you contribute to Canton people, the people of Canton, in the history of China? So I'm asking back to all this all those grandmaster or they even that guy who say me this way that way. Can you answer that? Of course can. So how did I answer that? How did I answer that? Simple, really simple. I stood up, make the salutations from the Fine Jet King Hoa Wei Kun, Fine Jet Opera, the anti-Qing opera. This is the Hongmen salutations. I don't have to say anything. Right away say, oh, we don't know it here. Now we know. So a salutations of Wing Chun, the female salutation of Wing Chun with the Hongmen code, identity code, worth much more than all the words. And the historian told me, Hendrik, we don't know it here. Of course, they don't know why. After all the cultural evolution and everything, what left? You can ask around. Many of Wing Chun, many of Chinese, traditional Chinese martial art thing is they actually reflow back from Hong Kong and other part of the world because cultural evolution actually really wipe out a lot of things. Now I'm saying this not that because I'm the authentic or all this nonsense. Is we need to know who we are. That salutation is the proof that with the details, the evidence that Wing Chun is in that anti-Qing uprising, fighting with Hong Seng Choi Lei Fat, fighting with Li Man Mao in that fine jet or King Hoa Wei Kun, who everybody respect because that is the people who fight for people. Okay? So people are not afraid that you are the best fighter or whatever you claim. People respect you because of your contributions to the people. Don't get it wrong. Chinese Kung Fu is not about go compete, sport competitions. Okay? Get that straight if you want to have the Chinese history. So do you think I brought out these transmissions, these salutations is for me to show that I'm older than you? No. If you don't have that, you cannot stand straight and stare at people. Stand tall in English. Okay? That's how serious it is. People give you face out there, clap. But inside there, come on, who respect you? Okay? So again, all this research, all this thing, what is the purpose? If you couldn't even protect your own Wing Chun, only history can protect Wing Chun. Can Bruce Lee protect that? Of course not. You look at this thing, how Xi Xiaodong trashed Bruce Lee. Okay? So the matter of fact is always think, what do you contribute? Instead of playing macho, playing grandmaster. So, for the behavior, how to behave, people need to know. So today I'm going to go into this. Traditional Chinese history, culture, and Kung Fu are not the opinions of single master lineage or scholar. Instead, they represent the accumulated wisdom of a civilization transcending personal belief. We better know this. Nobody is above history, culture, historical evidence. Nobody above that. Nobody own it. I cannot say I'm the best fighter in Wing Chun, and thus I have my Wing Chun. What Wing Chun? That's only what you think. The world is so big, like the Chinese say in Cantonese. 一山总有一山高. One mountain always have another mountain higher. You want to fight? That is always the case. But if you contribute, you speak through language, you speak with evidence, then people can respect you. But you need to contribute positively, not those egoistic stuff and have no idea what's going on, but keeping thinking they are the best of the world. Okay, Chinese culture is not Western culture, not the sport culture. Sport martial art culture is not that. It's about living. Wing Chun is about how to live a life. So, as the other day in that YouTube I shared with you, Wing Chun, you always have to have the content of the true transmissions like this. You always have to have an endorsement from your Sifu, from your lineage on top. You always, for Wing Chun, you always have that anti-Qing salutations, as what I just shared with you. People respect that because there's a part of history, there's the source, the soul of Wing Chun. Why did they respect you? Because the ancestor of Wing Chun sacrificed themselves in the uprising. They don't have to win, but they fight for the people. That's what people hold high. So transmission, you have this. You have the Jiguang like yesterday I shared with you all. You have all of this. You have the connections. You have all this thing. Okay, so that is the tradition of Wing Chun. If you don't have this, you don't have complete transmissions. You don't have the endorsement, forget about it. You can do all your research you want. You don't have the transmission. You don't have the endorsement. You don't know all these details. It's like, for example, you don't have this salutation. You don't have the quote. You're outside the right away. Okay. That's Chinese. And of course, that is up to 18, the Qing 1850 for this Wing Chun. But then the Chinese make a twist at 1920. Yesterday I shared with you. That is a reform by Tang Hao, Ma Li Tang, and all groups of people who is educated, university educated. And with the help of Professor Charles McCrory, yesterday I shared, who is also the advisor of the US Army in Second World War. They reform into the bridging the ancient Chinese into the with the modern science. So even Grandmaster Ma Li Tang here, who is practicing internal arts, Qigong, he is the one of the pioneer in Qigong in China. As yesterday I shared with you, he bridged the entire thing with the heart rate and so forth. Why? Because you want to raise the effectiveness and the efficiency of learning with the quality. You make sure that the learning can be repeated. You make sure that there is a standard. Not everybody is Sifu. I learned a few sets and then I'm Sifu. I go meditation, then I'm Sifu. No. 100 years ago, in 1920s, when Professor McCrory was here, that already began. So there's no bullshit. Okay. Now, as you know that yesterday, that Professor McCrory is rated by Tang Hao that his view is the same with Qi Jiguang, Grandmaster Qi Jiguang. So this is 1935, December the 9th. December the 9th. He said that, of course, those Sifu who is authoritarians is going to cower up themselves, defend themselves, and not not appreciate what is the American show us. Okay. So now you know. At 1920, 1930s is already that you have the transmissions, the tradition, the Chinese tradition, And then at the 1920, they add into bridging with the Western science. That is what happened in 1920, 1930s. At least in 1935, when they wrote this book, it's already a pretty mature stuff. Like yesterday, I shared with you that Ma Li Tang's books already listed the nervous system and all this thing. Well, he's the Tai Chi guy, he's the Xing Yi guy, he's the Bagua guy. Why he do that? Didn't he need to do like today? Everybody talk about Xing Yi, Bagua, internal art. Oh, it's Qi. You have the Qi, or Western thing. Come on. We Chinese have this Qi. But look, at that time, look at his credential, who he is. Now he will go that directions of bridging the science. Because if you don't do that, you cannot repeat, you cannot control the quality. Western science is very good for repeatability, efficiency, effective, and quality control. And you can set the standard. Nobody can BS. If you think you are in that physiological state, put yourself in the gadget. See whether you have that or not. And also you can avoid problem of mistraining and screw up your body if you have the Western modern science tracking. People know that. So at that time, it's already 100 years ago. So suddenly you have so many things happen in China, and suddenly it is here in America, Silicon Valley, California, 2025. 100 years already passed. And that's why I evoke it here. There is Chinese Kung Fu. You have the tradition, transmission part, endorsement part, and all those identity part and the technique part, and you have the science part. That is Chinese Kung Fu. Okay? There is a reality of Chinese Kung Fu. It's not what you see in the movie. Now, over here, he's talking about a person, Jiguang, who Professor Macro have the same view. So we're going to start with Jiguang because if you're Wing Chuners, you practice Chinese martial art, Tai Chi and everything, internal. How many of you know Jiguang? How many today in China, in everywhere, know about Jiguang teaching? How many people in Wing Chun know that? There is a problem. So he's a person 460, 50, 60 years ago. Okay? So Tang Hao saying that Qi Guang teaching is that once you learn the art, the skill of martial art or fighting art, you need to test out, try it out, see what works, what doesn't work, at what condition it works, at what condition it doesn't work. But you must not thinking you are superior because you defeat the other guy or you have inferiority complex because you lost, or you shouldn't have a superiority complex if you win because you're off target, you're off topic. The topic is test out what that techniques work, when, why is it work, why, when it doesn't work. That is the job of a martial artist if you practice that. And then he said that yesterday I've said that the Chinese, the uniqueness of Chinese martial art is momentum. Okay, so this is like Qi Guang time. So you want to look into that. And again, as what I just now shared with you, this is Ma Li Tang say Xing Qi to Dan Tian, and he said that you want to make it in the bridge in the scientific and educational. Okay, And so at the 1980s, still Ma Li Tang, after he get prisons or he get captured in the cultural revolutions, he came back and he taught the six healing sound in today's language. And he said that the beginning of Qigong, okay, when the breathing rate slow down to 4 times a minute, it marks the beginning of Qigong development. So it is not like today. You sit down there, you say, well, I have Qigong, I have the Qi here, Qi there, my Dantian and all this thing, my internal art, my Jing. No, we know. If you want to have a Qigong, your breathing better get down to 4 repetitions per minute. Or at least get down under 10. Get down to 8 or 6. But you never claim anything if you have no clue of how your breathing supposed to be when you practice Qigong. If you cannot pass the breathing requirement, that's human physiology, you will not have Qi in the Qigong practice. That's sure. Okay? So, up to now, this is what I shared with you yesterday. Now, that's the beginning of the Wing Chun, Chinese martial arts. This is about how one should behave. Remember, everybody talk about what? Wing Chun is from Shaolin. Wing Chun is a Buddhist art. If you are Buddhist, the real Buddhist art, there's something called precepts, meaning that what you can do, what you cannot do. So there are 3 moral code here because everybody talk about motak, martial moral, martial virtue. This is what in writing in authentic Shaolin martial arts. To study martial art, one must place strengthening the body and mind as first priority. Thus, one must practice day and night diligently. Following the teaching of Buddha, one must practice compassionate towards every living beings. Even if one has accomplished advanced art or skill, one must use the skill, one must not use the skill for, okay, one must use the skill for self-defense only. If you have advanced art, one must avoid fighting or testing one's skill to prove who is the best fighter or number one. Violations of this is taken as breaking the law. So they are using the Buddha's teaching as a standard, the sila. Okay. So one must avoid fighting or testing one's skill to prove who is the best fighter or number one. Violations of this is taken as the breaking of law, meaning that you must not do that. If you do that in the ancient time in the temple, you're going to get kicked out right away. Your monk identity, Buddhist monk identity, we're going to get kicked away, get deleted. One must behave and kind and honest and be kind and honest, taking good care of one's parents and never bully others with one's skill. So these 3 is the teaching of the Shaolin or any Buddhist temple. This is particularly specifically is belong to the Shaolin temple. So if you say Wing Chun is a Buddhist art, you better follow this. Otherwise, in the ancient, if you don't follow this, you are making a shame of Wing Chun. You are no longer Wing Chuners. In the ancient, in this series, as well, I said, if you break this in the temple, you get kicked out from the temple, even you are a monk, and then your monkhood, your Buddhist, your identity will be get sliced out. So that's how one need to behave. If you practice Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu, you said Wing Chun is from Shaolin. Are you serious? If you're serious, this is what you need to follow. Okay? So you need to be compassion. You need to be compassion, the teaching of compassion, compassion toward every living beings. Okay? So if you're compassion, like him, Stephen Hawking, everybody know who is Stephen Hawking, right? Will you say that this guy is a zombie? Will you say that? When you make remark like that, you are not human. You are not Buddhist because you have no compassionate heart. Okay? See, in Buddhist, in Chinese tradition, everybody have their strength. Everyone have their strength. So you respect everyone because everyone have their strength. Somebody be able to be a good cook. Somebody be able to be a good driver. Somebody is an excellent waiter. You think waiting in the restaurant is easy? No, it's not easy. Okay? So everybody is respected because they are human. So you don't make fun of Stephen Hawking, right? So it doesn't matter. This is from England, or you're Chinese, or you're from anywhere of the world. Same thing. Human is human. That go back to this. Following the teaching of the Buddha, one must practice compassionate towards every living being. You don't bully, you don't look down. You treat everybody with compassionate, you help everybody. That is the teaching of Shaolin, if you're serious with it. Now, I want to share with you one thing. Do you know that the Chinese have no such thing as king of Kung Fu? Do you know that? There's no such thing as best fighter and king of Kung Fu in real Chinese history. There's no such thing. Somebody said, "Oh, this is the king of Wing Chun." There's no such thing. No such thing. Those things are movies. Those things are like in the competitions. There's no such thing in the real authentic Chinese history have the king of Kung Fu stuff. Why? Let me share with you why. Since 450 years ago, there are no such thing as king of Kung Fu. This is General Jiguang's Mandarin Duck Array. So what is this Mandarin Duck Array? What is got to do with there's no king of Kung Fu, king of Wing Chun, or best fighter? This is the Mandarin Duck Array by Jiguang, right? For fighting the Japanese pirate. So how is that related? Do you know what is this? Well, of course, today we look at things different than 100 years ago, e- especially it's 450 years ago. This thing is this. Now you see it, top view of this array of these fighters. Why is that there is no best fighter, king of Kung Fu? Because since then, this is the reality. Watch this. That's how they take down the best Japanese samurai. Fighting one with one, the Chinese will not win because the Japanese samurai is seasoned in fighting art and so forth. But with a few peasants, farmers, with an array, how many seconds that best fighter, the best killer, the king will be taken down? Not to mention, this is introduced after this. That's why Chinese have no such thing as king of Kung Fu, the best fighter, and they do not support those things. Like I want to be number one in Kung Fu. You watch too much movie. After 1560s, this is reality, and firearm come into play. Now, many people ask me, well, Hendrik, how about the 6 point half pole of Wing Chun? Well, 6 point half pole is what? 6 point half pole is just this spear without that spearhead. So don't give a 6 point half pole pair of Wing Chun some kind of magic. 6 point half pole pair work with a group of people. It is one of the the Mandarin duck array. That's how it evolved. Okay, so from here you know that it's useless to be the king of kung fu, the best fighter. Well, in the Olympic, you can have that the best, the champion, the gold medal. In the real life, this is the reality since from the 60 years ago. Okay. Now, now you know that there are no such thing as king of Wing Chun. There's nothing about invincible fighter. You have this Jisim Mui, the invincible fighter fighting the Qing. There's no such thing. As for the Mui Jisim everything, this is a book. Okay, this is another book from Tang Hao, 1930s. So there's a book called 10,000 Year Green, okay, or 10,000 Year Qing. So this book, one of it was published in the Guangxi, the Emperor Guangxi, the year 19 of Emperor Guangxi. This is 1893, something like that. Fiction. Sorry to tell you this. Your 知心, your 誤會, your 誤會 all belongs to this fiction. It never exists in the real life. This exists. This exists. This Buddhist thing is real. Okay? So you want to talk about research in history? Why don't you go research on your Jisim and Mui and your Wing Chun this, Wing Chun that? Isn't that the source you need to go to? So that's reality. 100 years ago, people have already known that by evidence. So let's look at Qi Jiguang's classic because it's very important because remember, Wing Chun is anti-Qing. Wing Chun is anti-Qing, anti-Qing because the anti-Qing who fought the Qing, the Hongmun, they are actually the descendant of the Ming Dynasty army, the Ming Dynasty army. So they are using the Ming Dynasty's weapons and technology for anti-Qing. Okay, so this is Qi Jiguang. Qi Jiguang, your Bong Sao, Qi Jiguang. So let's look into this. The classic of Qi Jiguang. To learn what is a real Chinese martial arts. What is real Chinese Kung Fu? So it's only this one paragraph, one page. That's the entire classic. And that's where I put everything in the Kung Fu 15s, my books. Not to sell you the books. I tell you the secret. What I want from this book is the ISBN because there's a copyright. And I put it in Amazon. So nobody dare to touch it. And one need to be there, serve as the pattern. Like in technology, we have a pattern. The pattern is not pattern for me. The pattern is so that people know this is the truth of the Qi Ji Guang. Okay? Now, in the Ming Dynasty, at the time of Qi Ji Guang have two a really close friend and teacher. One is General Tang Sunzhi. One is called Yu Dayu. And the third one is Qi Ji Guang. So these three persons is responsible for the reform of Chinese Kung Fu and Chinese military. Without them, as Chinese Kung Fu, as Qi Ji Guang, Tang Hao mentioned uh, in the his book on the uh, Professor McCroyle, saying that come on, this flowery stuff. And Qi Ji Guang at that time is saying the same thing, man. You know, what are you guys doing? It's just flowery stuff. So at the Ming Dynasty, the Chinese Kung Fu is also flowery stuff. So it is Qi Ji Guang, Yu Dayu, and the Tang Sunzhi. Three of this guy reformed the entire thing. Tang Sunzhi actually is the original inventor of the Mandarin duck array. He taught it to Qi Ji Guang. Qi Ji Guang evolved it to be better. And he passed away pretty young. Okay? So all of those are martial artists. Now, You all have to remember, you all have to know Chinese culture is based on two things. If you don't know Chinese culture, let me tell you, Chinese culture is based on two things. Not those Dao, Tai Chi, all of nonsense. Those are symbolic explanation of stuff. Chinese call themselves the descendant of dragon. Why dragon? Because dragon is the animal which is keeping transform. The dragon keep alive due to transform, keeping transform. So that's why one of the key of the Chinese, the soul of Chinese culture and the Chinese race is change. That's why it is called I Ching, classic of change. Everything is change. That is Chinese, the soul of Chinese culture. The second thing is momentum. Okay, momentum. So the change and momentum. So in the Chinese military, okay, like the Sun Tzu, the art of war is describe momentum, always handling momentum. Okay, describe momentum and ways of handling momentum. The Chinese is using momentum. You create a momentum. Usually it's a five element. 深刻智化术. Sen is use one momentum to create another momentum. 智 is you use one momentum to uh, to 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 subdue another momentum. Hua is using one momentum to uh, dissolve another momentum. 深刻智 okay. So 克 meaning using one momentum to really uh, uh, against another momentum, to destroy another momentum, to really to say that one is okay. So one using one momentum, sun is using one momentum to transform, to give birth to another momentum. Okay, to give birth to another momentum. Ke is one momentum to against another momentum. Okay, so it's like you have a ball, I have a wall. Your ball hit the wall, your ball have to stop. Okay, so that's called 克, sorry, 克. And then 治 is to subdue. Okay, meaning that if you throw a punch, somebody just slap your elbow so that the entire thing misses. Hua is meaning that one momentum dissolve another momentum. Okay, so you should ask, what is that? Or say you give me a punch, for example, I pull you, I dissolve all your momentum. Okay, Su meaning that if I am 250 pounds, you are 150 pounds, I don't give a damn. I just crush the hell out of you because your momentum is much smaller than mine. So the Chinese is playing with that 深刻智化术, making use of momentum, subdue the momentum, all this thing. Okay. Now, so in Sun Tzu, it actually saying again, it said the using of the momentum for fighting is like a torrent capable of drifting stone is due to momentum phenomenon. A person who knows A person who knows how to make use of momentum lead his enemy the same way as he rolling rocks or rocks down the hill. So he's just going to bait you out there and then roll the rock down and then see how you're going to play with it. So he doesn't have to be fighting you really hard. Okay. So the Chinese, there are two thing in the two element in the Chinese culture, which is the soul of the Chinese and the soul of the momentum. Sorry, the soul of the culture. Why China still be here after thousands of years, where in the world other countries already gone, is because number one is change, always change, keeping changing. The second is always follow the momentum, the trend of the momentum, make use of it, don't against it. Okay, so it's called 用势, 造势用势. You create the momentum, you make use of the momentum, and the entire thing for sure has to keep changing. There's no dog line there, there's no dogma there. Okay, now, so that's called dragon. Okay, so this group of people, Chinese call, they are the descendant of the dragon because they keeping changing and they're using momentum. Now, we talked about Tang Sunzhi just now. Tang Sunzhi. Tang Sunzhi have a martial art book called Wu Pian. And see what he say here. The momentum of martial art is the root of change. The momentum of martial art consists of both guarding and opening of proportion regardless of it is standing, oblique, rising, sinking motions. That's what it is. 450 years ago, Tang Sunzhi. So this is the writing. This is Wu Pian. Okay, so it's in this book. Okay. Now, this is Yi Da You's writing. Remember? This is Yi Da You, the three general. The second one is Yi Da You, the friend and the teacher of Jiguang. So this is the Yi Da You's uh, writing on using opponent's momentum. So here, you must identify where the opponent's aim his strength. Do not fight his strength at where the opponent aim at. Attack him between his two attacks. This is to make use of opponent's momentum and borrow the opponent's strength. How to do that? Of course, there are ways to do that. This is the line of fire, line of attack. Your opponent is going to attack this point. Guess what? He is not going to fight you here. He's going to come here in between of your two attack. That's what it is. You must identify where the opponent's aim his strength. Do not fight his strength at where the opponent aim at. Attack him between his two attack. This is to make use of opponent's momentum and borrow the opponent's strength. So, it is not your Wing Chun today, fighting in the center lines. It's cut in this way. You don't want to be fighting in the line of attack. You identify his center line, okay, where he aim his strength, but do not fight the strength there. Because the opponent is rapid fire. If he start already for his momentum, you're too late. Momentum is mass multiplied by velocity. When he accelerate out already, you slower than him. You lost because the momentum is faster than you, is bigger momentum than you. So attack him between his two attack. You attack him here, he already charged in. You make use of his strength, his momentum. And yet the second hand did not come out here. You disturb him, perturb him, you intercept him. So there is Yi Da Yu. So again, this is in Tang Hao. Yi Da Yu is actually real real incident in the history. He went to Shaolin. He went to Shaolin. He went to Shaolin. He challenged the Shaolin. He's a general at that time. He went to Shaolin. He challenged the Shaolin on pole fight. No monk can beat him. And he know that the art of Shaolin is gone, so he brought two monks with him to the army, trained the monk, and then sent them back to Shaolin for teaching. How many people know this? That's why he followed the rules of just found out what works, what not works. It's not like I'm a superiority complex. I can beat the entire Shaolin. Consider that, yeah, he went to the Shaolin. Shaolin cannot stand him. But he didn't boast that way. He didn't bully the Shaolin monk, say, well, I'm the top of the world, I'm the best. No. That's how Chinese Kung Fu and Chinese martial artists is. Okay. Now let's get into the Jiguang's classic. So in the classic, he say here, Ji Xiao refer to evidence-based and effective. Xing Su refer to a book that keep pace with the time. It based on traditional method and is not restricted by traditional method. This is tell you what, as what I just share with you on the book of change, the Yi Jing. Nothing is fixed. He went even go study the Japanese samurai sword. That's why he said it's based on traditional method. That's Chinese, but it's not restricted. I can use Japanese too. You see, it is really active, really lively. It's nothing dead there. No, no dogma, no dog line. Okay. So this is the teaching of Qi Ji Guang in the classic in this. Even though it is just this much, a page. So I break it down and share what it is. Over here, he said that, and the wonderful is to attack forward with single leg rise, and to attack backward with backward leg insert. And the fierceness is to attack diagonally with chop, and to attack retaliatory with fist. The speediness is to execute joint lock and to throw or take down. The softness is to dodge diagonally with footwork, avoiding head-on confrontations. So this is the four in the Chinese classic, if you study, is called the four qi. Four qi, the wonderful, the fierce, uh, the speediness, and the softness. So you say, well, what, Hendrik, what the heck is this? Well, you look at all other books of Qi Ji Guang classic translate, they don't know this. What is Tai Chi soft? Well, it's simple. If you know what it is, you learn it, they're simple. Wonderfulness is to attack forward with single leg rise and to attack backward with backward leg insert. This is what it is, including your throw and your kick. Okay. Fierceness is to attack diagonally with chop and to attack laterally with fist. This is it is. Long fist stuff. Speediness is to execute joint lock and to throw or take down, meaning you have to be fast. So meaning that this is called wonderful because it's imbalance, make use of imbalance. This is called fierce is because it's the entire thing like a gyros, you hit you. This is called fast is because you have to fast to carry out the throw and lock and so forth. And the last one, the softness is to dodge diagonally with footwork avoiding head-on confrontation. So the basic of Jiguang is this four, this thing. So you have a different momentum zone here already. Continue. Just pick the thing. Okay. One always transform from, okay, so let's read this. Every one of this 32 momentum. So he said, okay, just go here is better. Thus, from very of unarmed combat, I have select 32 of crucial unarmed combat momentum. I have make them as a set. Every one of these 32 momentum could link to each other. One always transform from one type of momentum to another type of momentum to defeat the opponent. One momentum type could endlessly transform to another type of momentum. When the transformations of one type of momentum to another type of momentum is unpredictable and subtle, and the opponent is unable to predict the trend of the momentum transform, that is named as superb. So what does it say? It says this. Remember the four things? It includes the long fist, the short strike, the throw here, and the ground fight. So the ground fighting is not like today's the wrestling, the mounting. No, the Chinese using the kicks and all kind of locks here. So this is long fist, short strike. The throw is belong to this short strike, and then the ground fight. Since that time, Chinese Kung Fu have already having this. Don't you call this MMA? And of course, Qi Guang went to study all the different art at that time. And so, as he say here, I select 32 types of crucial unarmed combat momentum. I make them assets. Well, don't jump gun into assets mean. Let me share with you. So this is the reality of fighting. Is an exchange of impulse momentum governed by the impulse momentum theory in today's words. Once fighting starts, the exchange of impulse momentum will continue on until one's party unable to function. 460 years ago. Is it MMA? You think Bruce Lee invented MMA? This is using in battlefield with the Japanese. And he said this. The common saying is one will not be able to respond to an unrecognized attack. Attack need to be like thunder. Thunder suddenly strike with a speed that allow no time to cover one's ear. One must attack without resisting nor parrying. As soon as one engage in resisting or parrying, one will tangle with many ineffective moves. One need to have a broad combat knowledge and keep learning. And the one who can predict the momentum trends win. It's not today's hand techniques. That's why he said here, right? One must attack without resisting or parrying. As soon as one engage in resisting or parrying, one will tangle with many ineffective moves. This is real Chinese Kung Fu, and you need to keep learning. There's no end to it. And here he said, once you learn the skill, you must test your skill on your opponent. The goal of testing is to find out the cause of winning or losing. Do not feel proud of your victory or shame on being defeated. If you are afraid of your opponent, then you still do not have enough skill. A good fighter certainly has a refined skill. The ancients have said high-level skill opponent, uh, high-level skill support one's courage. This is the truth that you can trust. This is the teaching of Qi Guang. Okay? Now, you talk about 32 momentum, 32 type of momentum. make a set. This is the second momentum, or we call it case two, probing horse momentum. Remember, Wing Chun is using this momentum. In the salutations. Why? If you know Jiguang, the second momentum or case two momentum, you know why it is. So English translations. Probing force momentum is from Song Dynasty Emperor. This momentum can transform into feint type or an overcome type of momentum. Attack dodge from weak position turn into strong position. An excellent momentum to pair with short strike or countering short strike. Wing Chun is a short strike art. So this momentum is to pair with it. Why pair with it? You feint from a long distance and then you can close to him. Countering the short strike momentum, you can use long distance strike to block the short strike people to coming in. That's why over here it said present the sword finger and wing elbow to the hero. Hero is Hong Moon, okay? The anti-Qing. Sword finger is the long distance feint or long distance attack. Wing elbow, your bongjang, is the short strike thing. So that is the, and then because this is the how the male play female roles in the red boat, how they perform their gesture. And thus, you see, this thing turn into this finger gesture turn into this. And they base on Qi Ji Guang's probing horse momentum. That is your Wing Chun closing salutations. So this is the Wing Chun closing salutation. This is the Wing Chun open salutations, starting salutation, where say female blowing, overturn the Qing, return to Ming phylic forces, or 10th finger linked to one heart, return back my country. Meaning Qing, you back, I want my country back. Okay? So everything linked together, everything connect together. Okay, so there's probing horse momentum. And then let's get to this. The bong. Everybody have this bong, right? Everybody know bong, right? This is from the Jiguang, and it is located here. It located here in the part two. The writing of the part two of the Xiu Lim Tao, the four-part Xiu Lim Tao, 1850s. This bong, elbow, all this, and capture the goat and so forth is actually Qi Guang's. Case 6. Qi Guang doesn't call it bong. Qi Guang call it phoenix elbow, and this is the reverse elbow, reverse phoenix elbow. Now, what is it? Okay, so this is instructions. Reverse Phoenix elbow momentum or bong momentum. Step out with jotting. Move the opponent's arm upward to attack the opponent's heart. Seize the groin or attack the throat. Pull the bow vigorously. Hand and feet must coordinate. Just nice, no? So it has to be seize the groin or attack the throat. In the Wing Chun, it change it. It change the character, saying the same thing. So he said, turn upward your eagle crawl. Capture the goat. The goat can be the throat or your groin, but they use it more kinds of not that explicit words. Okay, so here is it upward attack, seize the groin and attack the throat. Now, then you ask me, well, Hendrik, so what do you mean here by like Jiguang say here? So just now we look at two types of momentum within the 32. And he said that one momentum always transform from one momentum to another type momentum to defeat the opponent. What does it mean, Hendrik? Well, if you look at the words, you never have the transmission, you don't know what it is. It is a combo. It is a combo. Using the bong to break his arm. You can see it even in today's MMA. For 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 somebody using for elbow locking or even can cause breaking here in the joints. Okay. And then it raising up, it smack under the armpit into the heart. Go up. Okay. To your different place. And I don't want to say it clearly here because I don't want to promote fighting here. And then change the directions to the other side to attack another thing, and then change the direction. You see, it's changing the angle, changing the direction, and changing the distance. So it always changing different distance. One always transform one momentum to the other momentum. Always changing the distance, changing the level, and changing the angle. So within a bond, there are one, two, three, four, five change. There are five changing with a bond. Depend on what you do. Depend on how the opponents struggle. So if you have a 32 momentum, each one have say three changes. Of course, this is five, right? Just say three changes. 32 multiplied by three, you get about 96 changes. So when he say a sets, when he say a sets, I make them a sets. It means that you learn that 96 momentum, then 96 change of momentum. So when you play, changing angle, changing distance, changing levels, it's like that. So it's like your MMA, you have this 96 of changing momentum inside there. So there's momentum. That is Qi Guang's teaching. Qi Guang's unarmed combat. He trained his army this way, but in the real life, when he fought this way. He fought this way. Okay? That's why in the war, his battle result is always he do not lose more than 5% of his men. He wiped out the entire Japanese pirate and he do not lose, say, more than 5% of his men. There's like in the one of the battle, he wiped out 2,000 Japanese pirates. He lost 3 to 5 men. I forgot it's 5 or 3 because it's well trained. Okay. Now, his army, you know where he found his army? Mine worker, those who work in mine, like coal mine, strong, big. So it's not everybody can train. It's not everybody, your body advantage is one thing. So next time we want to proceed down to this. This is General Qi Jiguang. This is Wu Pian. Remember just now I said there's this Wu Pian. Remember the three general? Tang Sunzi. This is Wu Pian. Okay, that's where the Wu Pian is. This is Yu Da Yu. Okay, so the Wu Pian is older. It get to the Qi Ji Guang's 32 momentum. So it just draw like this, but it is one momentum case like just now. This is a case two momentum. This is this momentum. Okay. And now it get to Shaolin short strike. Songshan Shaolin, Shaolin short strike. So next episode, we're gonna go through the Shaolin short strike. Then sooner or later, you can see the entire thing. And hopefully today you know what is Chinese Kung Fu. What is Chinese culture? Sorry, it is not movies. Okay? So this is for you today. Wait until next episode. There are two more episodes. One is for the Shaolin short strike and the Wing Chun. And then one is for the Nei Gong, Qi Gong, your breathing and so forth. It is this much down. It's called transmission, through transmissions, because it is one line down from Qi Ji Guang to Wing Chun. I didn't say a word about my opinion. This is all based on all the writing. Until next time.